The situation in Pakistan going from bad to worse after record-breaking floods. Health officials say waterborne diseases are now spreading. Survivors are also facing a lack of resources and food. NBC News foreign correspondent Ali Arouzi joins me now. Ali, what's happening on the ground right now in Pakistan?
Hey, Kate. Well, the vast scope and scale of these floods continues to hamper international aid agencies' efforts to help people. Floodwaters may have receded in much of the country, but many districts in the southern Sindh province remain submerged. Its residents are marooned, making rescue efforts very difficult. Over 100 bridges and almost 2,000 miles of roads have been damaged or destroyed. About 800,000 farm animals have been killed, and 2 million acres of crops and orchards have been flooded, homes and livelihoods wiped away, Kate. Let's take a closer look at what's been happening on the ground in Pakistan. An unprecedented monsoon season slamming Pakistan, with torrential rains and flooding tearing through towns, destroying almost everything in its path. A third of the country underwater. According to the Pakistani government, the monster floods have killed more than 1,100 people. 33 million people, or 1 in every 7 Pakistanis, has been affected by the floods. Now, the survivors face a new challenge: hunger.
स्कूल में कुछ भी सहूलत नहीं है। इस स्कूल में आ तो गए हैं, लेकिन खाने पीने का कोई सहूलत नहीं है। इस स्कूल के आने से, खाने पीने से हमारे को ज़हर दो।
Our team on the ground visiting this relief camp in Peshawar, Pakistan, where families lack basic necessities. Children are getting sick, and this man says they've only been fed rice since arriving at the camp. People crowding supply trucks, begging for food and water. And some residents telling us they regret not taking the earlier warnings to evacuate seriously. Like this man and his family, who were asleep when the floodwaters came, saying, "We didn't believe the government and ignored its flood warnings as the weather was clear and there was no rain in the town." But since the monsoon season started back in mid-June, torrential rains, compounded by melting glaciers, brought devastating floods. Government officials say Pakistan is the country with the most glaciers outside of the polar regions, placing it directly in the front lines of possible disasters brought on by climate change.
Pakistan contributes negligible amounts to the overall carbon footprint, but we are devastated by climate disasters such as these time and time again.
Most of the destruction falling along the Indus River, the worst affected areas being in the southern regions of the country, with the government estimating over $10 billion in damages. Army helicopters pulling people to safety and dropping off supplies.
I haven't seen any destruction or devastation of this scale.
The Pakistani government struggling to keep up with the need as the international community steps up to help. But for the families in Peshawar, little relief. Most have lost everything, and with more rain expected in September, the fight for survival continues. And Kate, nearly 500,000 displaced people are living in relief camps. Doctors say initially they were mostly seeing patients traumatized by flooding, but are now treating thousands of people suffering from diarrhea, skin infections, and other waterborne ailments. Many pregnant women living in flood-affected areas are also exposed to acute risks. And according to the UN Children's Agency, more than 3 million children are in need of humanitarian assistance and stand at a heightened risk of disease, drowning, and malnutrition. Kate?
Just an awful situation. Ali, thank you for bringing us that.
Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. Follow today's top stories and breaking news by downloading the NBC News app.